who is the head of Google for Startups in the UK. Google Startups in the US. I was just talking to Marta, actually, who is the head of Google Startups in the UK. Apologies about that. So Google for Startups in the US. We also have Jaquita Thomas, who's a co-founder of Pharaohs Conclave. They are a tech company that prepares youth for esports careers. Dr. Thomas is also a co-founder of PCX's nonprofit arm, PCX Go, which builds on PCX's mission of pioneering esports education through capacity building around esports career pathways. Our final panelist on this great conversation is Amanda Sabria, who is founder of STAT, a company that centralizes code and project data into one easy to understand place, a tool built for engineering leaders that helps inform and direct through the product development life cycle. And of course, in this last incredible panel discussion, we'll be talking about how to fund Black founders with some of Google for Startups initiatives. I will hand over the stage to Jewel as our moderator to take us through this panel discussion. Good luck.
Thank you, Finn. So I'm so excited to be moderating this discussion with two of my favorite founders, Amanda and Jaquita. Amanda and Jaquita have been part of our Google for Startups Atlanta Founders Academy this year, and most recently were two of our recipients of our Black Founders Fund. So they've been doing incredible work, not just this year, but for years. And so I'm really excited to have the opportunity to showcase the wonderful work that you both are doing. So to kick us off, I just want to let everyone know exactly who you are, what you're doing, what your companies do. So Amanda, why don't we start with you?
Awesome. Hi, everybody. My name is Amanda Sabria. I'm happily located here in Atlanta. I have a background actually in product management, marketing, and analytics. And so that's led me to my journey here at STAT, where I'm the founder. I left my corporate job at Coca-Cola, where I was doing really fun, creative things, to go and build a tool for creatives to manage their business. And it was through that process where I realized just how inefficient it was to actually build software development projects. And the more inefficient it is, the more expensive it is. And so I was wondering if I could use my background in data analytics and make it really digestible and easy for someone to keep their team in sync and make that process a lot more efficient. So that's exactly what STAT does. It's a development analytics tool for software engineering managers. It easily tracks your code and your project progress and gives you a really digestible, easy view to see what's happening and spot risk across your development projects. So if you've ever managed developers, you know how complicated it can be to quickly understand what's happening and also understand what's going wrong inside of engineering projects. So our tool makes it easy to stay in sync with your teams and get software products to market more efficiently.
Amazing. And Jaquita, tell us about yourself, your background, and also what you're doing at Pharaohs Conclave.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here. My name is Jaquita Thomas. I'm the co-founder of Pharaohs Conclave. We prepare youth K through 16 for esports careers. It actually probably started when I was a child. I was an avid gamer, loved playing games like Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, the Oregon Trail. And that passion for gaming actually led me to pursue a background in computer science, which is what my bachelor's degree and my PhD are in. This is my 6-year-old. Sorry. And and so that love of gaming and also having a passion for supporting young people and helping them to really pursue their dreams and connect their passions to careers led me to co-found Pharaohs Conclave with my husband, Eric Thomas. We were about 5 years ago watching an episode of Real Sports with Brian Gumbel, and he was talking about some of those first colleges and universities that were offering scholarships in esports. And we looked around in the community where we are here in Atlanta, looking for that esports community, but also looking for young people who have historically been marginalized inside of tech and esports spaces, Black and brown youth in particular. And we didn't see it. So we decided to start Pharaoh's Conclave. And what we've learned over the course of the 4 years we've been around is that for young people who want to pursue careers in esports, they really face two primary issues. The first is that they don't know the range of careers that exist just outside of playing professional games. And if they do know, then they don't know how to start. And so we created Pharaoh's Conclave to support them through our three-pronged approach, which includes not only an online self-directed learning platform called Level Up Academy, but also our Youth Esports League, which gives them an opportunity to compete, build their skills and win championships. And then our Escape program, which is really our workforce development arm that connects them into the industry through jobs, internships, and co-ops.
Amazing. I used to play Oregon Trail as well. I was not very good at it, but I do remember that game. And I'm glad that it motivated you to build this amazing company. So for you both, I happen to know that you both have done an amazing job innovating during what has been a wild and crazy year 2020. And I want to know if you can talk a little bit about what are some things that you've done this year to, one, just keep the business growing and staying afloat? And what have you learned in what has been a really challenging year for entrepreneurs everywhere? And Jaquita, we'll start with you.
Okay. So 2020, has been a really interesting year. Our company has been able to thrive through COVID, which sounds a little bit unexpected, but right before COVID actually struck, the shelter in place orders that is struck sometime in February, we could kind of see where the trajectory of the pandemic might head. And we saw that there was the potential that a lot of the face-to-face summer programming that we had been engaged to provide might not actually happen. And so in thinking about the possibility of that, we actually made a plan for what would it look like if we tried to do our summer programming 100% virtually? Like, how would that work logistically? Would it make sense financially? How would we figure out, how would we reach students to let them know? How would we promote it and market it? And so we spent some time actually mapping out what that might look like ahead of the shelter in place orders. And it was really interesting. I would say the Sunday that we finished mapping it all out and realizing this could be something that would be really viable, that next day on Monday, somebody called us and was like, we're going to have to cancel all of our summer camps. Do y'all have anything virtual? And we were like, why? Why, yes, we did. So it was really fortuitous for us. And it allowed us to continue to bring revenue into the company. It allowed us to grow. We actually were able to expand our partner base and our reach nationally because being 100% virtual allowed us to be able to do that. And we were even able to engage with partners internationally. So it actually has allowed us, the pandemic, while it's caused us to have to be, inside more, it actually allowed us to reach outside more virtually and widen our scope and our partnership and the number of youth that we were able to serve and the locations of where those youth are.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to piggyback off of that. I think the number one thing that I learned from the whole pandemic was just because you get slowed down from one plan doesn't mean that there's not a better plan or a plan that you weren't thinking about before that can come to fruition. For us in the beginning, it slowed us all the way down. Our entire team was like, what's going on? Some of the pilots that we had landed went cold. I, as a founder, was kind of like, what am I going to do? People had come off full time from their, corporate jobs, and I had to make payroll. And so it slowed us down to go a lot faster. So when we were slowed down, we got as resourceful as we could possibly get. It was a lot of leadership learning on my end on how to keep people motivated, how to keep people seeing the vision, how to keep people lower frustration through, slowness. And I think it was around July, we had a big team meeting. It was 3.5 hours long. And we were like, we're not leaving today until we come up with a plan. And it was literally ever since that day, everything has turned around. We've probably gone faster from that day to where we are today than our whole entire plan of the year at the beginning of the year. So again, it's just a lesson in when you're feeling slowed down, take that slowness, don't try and speed it up right away, and really understand where that slowness is directing you.
I love that. Amanda, I think that's a really great piece of advice, to just kind of be there in that mode, and then use that to escalate things quickly. So that's great. I want to dive into something that I think you both are really good at, which is being very customer centric and leveraging your conversations with customers to really inform the product that you bring to market. So Amanda, I'll start with you. I know you've done a really great job of listening to your customers, iterating based on what customers say. Can you talk a little bit about that and why that's a part of your process?
Yeah, so I talked to our head of growth almost all day long, literally all day long, from the time we wake up to the time we go to bed. And we're always asking each other, what's our scalable growth strategy? And after a while, we just started saying, just staying close to the customer. And I will tell you, for the last, I would say 6 weeks, we've had about 10, 20 customer calls of just, hey, we iterated on this feature. What do you think? Be as candid as you can be. And even if we get off of the phone with individuals who were a little bit passive or giving us too much praise, it was like, no, we got to go find someone that's going to tell us they would absolutely not use this, right? And really, and that's helped us define exactly who we're selling to. I think we're clearer on ideal customer profile than we've ever been. How much they're going to pay, how they're going to use it, how they would talk about it within their company to other managers. And so that's my second piece of advice that I give people is, if you can stay in front of your customer constantly, you actually achieve more growth a lot quicker.
Great. And Jaquita, I want you to take that question. Oh, but for you, it's a little different because you are selling to parents in some ways, but your end user a lot of times is children. So talk about how you manage that and what tactics or strategies you have in that regard.
Yeah, so we have a situation, as you mentioned, Jewel, where our beneficiaries are the young people, but they're not necessarily the customers who are buying the products. And interestingly enough, this is another, I would say, probably unexpected benefit of the pandemic. Our initial customer segment that we had received a lot of traction from and still get a lot of traction around is really youth-based organizations. Those were like the first people who called us because they had these plans for summer, or even during the academic year. They have they want to engage and make sure that their young people that they work with are exposed to, the cutting edge in STEM and STEAM, but they don't have the expertise in-house to do it. And so while we were in the midst of really making a plan to continue to expand and grow in our reach in that market, the pandemic also sent parents out looking. So we had parents as a customer segment we would focus on kind of on the horizon, and it brought it sooner to us because they were looking for opportunities for their young people, and they still continue to as we deal with virtual learning. But the same thing, we're constantly talking to not only our customers, but also our beneficiaries, because if we're not designing an experience that they want to engage in, then they'll be real quick to tell their moms and their coaches and their advisors, nah, we're good. We don't have to do this. So we're constantly leveraging data to help us understand. We have a lot of mechanisms to be able to capture that data from not only our customers, but also from our beneficiaries to make sure that we're getting what we need. I would just say the more intentional and thoughtful that you can be about the data that you collect, I think the bigger an impact that you can have. And I always tell people all the time, I have a background in teaching people how to design games. And when you're designing games, you can't be married to your idea. It could be the greatest idea to you, but if your customer or your beneficiary says it's got to go, it's got to go. And you got to figure out what else you're going to do. And oftentimes staying close to the customer or staying close to the beneficiary actually makes the work easier for you, because they're going to tell you exactly what they need. They're going to tell you how they need it. They're going to tell you the circumstances under which they need it and what they're going to do, what they would intend to or like to do with it. And so they make your job as a designer and as an entrepreneur a lot easier.
Amazing. Jaquita, I've shared it with you, but I'll share with everyone else that my little cousin was one of the participants in the digital summer camp, and he absolutely loved it. I heard it from him and from his parents, and they didn't even know that I was associated or that I knew you. So that was really nice to get that customer feedback. I was proud. So we are coming toward the end of our time, but I have a couple more quick questions. This is Black Leaders Month for Startup Grind, and I want to hear from you. We asked this question when we selected you both for the Black Founders Fund, and I thought you both had incredible answers. So I want you to share with everyone who's watching, why is it important to fund Black founders? And Amanda, we'll start with you.
Okay, awesome. So I think it is incredibly important to fund Black founders, because I think that Black people, we come from a very unique background and a unique perspective, and we bring a unique perspective, a unique thought process, a unique problem-solving process to the table. And I feel like when that uniqueness mixes with people of the same and of different backgrounds, and when it's properly resourced, then I really believe that there's a world that exists that we can't imagine yet. And I think now we see a lot of companies out there that are trying to solve large world problems, but they don't have enough perspective sitting at the decision-making table to put the places, the technology, the people in place even to see the world that they're even trying to envision. So I think that's why it's very important for Black founders to get funded, because I just think that the potential and the possibility is something that we can't imagine.
With that 1,000 trillion %. I always say that Black people, we move through the world differently. And I think the global pandemic intersected with the uprisings that have happened, after the deaths of Breonna Taylor and other Black people, has it really has made more salient just how differently many of us have to move through the world. And because we move through the world differently, we do have this very unique outsider inside perspective on a wealth of different problems. We are also incredibly resourceful. We make a lot happen with a little. And so just think about, if we as Black founders are more resourced, think about the strides we'll go and how far we can take something. I'm also a firm believer that if you want to see something transform, you have to focus on those who are the most marginalized, because when you solve problems for the people who are the most marginalized, you automatically solve problems for everyone. And so I think that unique perspective, that unique experience of how we move through the world and the ways in which we're able to leverage resources that we have is something that, is unmatched. And it's definitely a reason why people should fund and support Black founders.
Amazing. So I'm going to ask one last question. It came in from Grace, and I also want to ask you both to answer. Actually, it's two questions. I'm sorry. It's two questions. So one is, what did the funding from Google, or what already has it, or what will it allow you to do for your companies? And then as you answer that, I also want you to answer, how can everyone who is watching support your businesses, follow you? I want to make sure this is not just a one-time event, but people can stay in touch with what you're doing. So if you can answer those two questions succinctly, that'd be great.
Awesome. I'll go first. You can stay in touch with me via Twitter at Amanda Sabria, or my email, amanda@staat.co. And the funding, it's already put to work. We hired another engineer back in while we were applying for the funding, and his paycheck was coming out of my personal savings. And then we got the funding, and it just made an incredible world of difference. So it's already put to work. We hired an engineer. We now have about 4 full-time people on the team. And so we're moving. It's sped up a lot for us. Like I said, we're moving at a pace that I've never moved building a company before. So again, thank you to Google for Startups, Jewel and her team. I think the funding, along with the learning, because I tell this to everybody, this is one of the best or the best accelerator or, academy that I've been a part of, has propelled our company forward.
Absolutely. I can't say enough about the mentorship, about the training, about the real, like, on the ground conversations that you can apply at, 5 p.m. when you have a call with somebody. Like, it has been the best experience ever. Us too, we're already putting the funds to use. We have been generating revenues off of an MVP. And we were able to hire someone to develop a production level version of Level Up Academy. So it already has come into use. And my co-founder and I actually, up until this point, have been working full-time jobs to bootstrap the company, and my co-founder was actually able to step away because of this funding. So it's focus 100% on Pharaoh's Conclave. So again, that's allowed us to move at a pace much quicker and faster than we've ever been able to move at before. If people want to stay in tuned and in touch with us, they can go to our website. That's probably the easiest thing to spell, which is www.pcxnow.com, and all of our social media is linked there.
Well, Amanda and Jaquita, it has been such an honor to have this conversation with you. We're so excited about what you're doing. Finn, I see coming back up to close us out.
That was absolutely incredible. Thank you so much to each and every one of you for sharing your incredible journeys. Congratulations on your funding from Google for Startups. Super excited to see what you can build. One of so Startup Grind's values are, make friends, give first, help others. And I'd definitely love to, extend this to you as well, Jewel. Like, if there is one way that our community can help you, what would that be? So perhaps we can go Amanda, Jaquita, and then Jewel. If there's any way that our Startup Grind community can help you, we would love to hear it.
Yeah, definitely. Right now, we're looking for pilot users. We've got a closed pilot going on. We've got a bunch of incredible teams that have signed up, and we're looking for more. So if you know anyone that's running an engineering team that would be interested in being a little bit more organized and efficient, then head over to www.stat.co. And we will pick you up from there, give you a demo, and get you on our Insider Club, if you will.
Brilliant. Love that.
We're actually looking for 2 things. The first is connections to national strategic partners. We're targeting partners like the Boys and Girls Club, Girl Scouts, large organizations that service youth. We're looking to connect. Also, we are looking for expertise around design. So if there's anybody who has that or has connections to that, we'd love to talk.
Brilliant. Thank you. And Jewel?
Yes, and for me, Amanda and Jaquita are 2 of 76 amazing Black founders who received funding. So I would love for you all to go and check out all of the other founders. You can go to g.co/Black Founders Fund to see all of the amazing recipients and see how you can support their businesses as well.
Absolutely incredible. Thank you all once again so much. What an incredible insights you have shared with our community. Wishing you the very best of luck with your ventures. And hopefully, we can continue to help and support you in any way you can. Thank you so much once again to Jewel and Google for Startups for being a part of us for Black Leaders Month, and wishing you all the very best. Thank you all. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
There we go. And we are backstage. Again, Amanda and Chiquita, thank you all so much. It would be wonderful to connect to you on LinkedIn. And if there's any ways, as I said, Startup Grind can help and support you, would be delighted to do so.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Sorry.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, Amanda.
Bye, Chiquita. I know.